The thing about urban legends is that the majority of them are just scary campfire tales that we tell one another in order to inhibit and invoke a reaction in our friends. We tell them to scare ourselves and then laugh about it later. We go to sleep with the understanding, notion, and security that the stories were fake. They were told to have a good time. However, what happens when an urban legend becomes too real? There aren't many situations where an urban legend was taken seriously to the point where it was able to cause mass panic. But one does come to mind. The legend of the Slit Mouth Woman, or better yet known as Kuchisake-Onna. First and foremost, is Kuchisake-Onna real? Well, I don't know. Or it'd be better put, I've never seen her. However, she certainly captured the public's imagination. So who is she? The Slit Mouth Woman, or Kuchisake-Onna, is a prominent Japanese urban legend. She is described as wearing a long winter coat, a medical mask, and carries a large pair of scissors. Should she remove her mask, you would see her mouth is slit ear to ear, forming an almost Joker-like smile, only more grotesque. Rumors of alleged sightings of the Slit Mouth Woman began spreading around in 1979, although the legend has existed prior to that date. According to several articles, many people claim to have witnessed Kuchisake-Onna. The amount of reports was massive, so much so that the nation took it seriously in an effort to keep the people of Japan safe. Many articles explain that children were dismissed from school in groups escorted by a teacher for safety, and police officers began to increase their patrols. It's clear that the legend took a serious toll on the people of Japan, and for a good reason. Should the legend be real, the people of Japan were in severe danger. As the legend goes, Kuchisake-Onna was a beautiful woman who lived during the times of feudal Japan. She was so gorgeous that the men in her village would constantly shower her with gifts, and be enthralled by her beauty. Unfortunately for them, she was already married to a samurai who had quite the temper. Knowing how beautiful she was, and how often she was left home alone, while he was off doing battle, the samurai suspected she was being unfaithful. He would convince himself that she had to absolutely be cheating on him. To his dismay, he was right. Kuchisake-Onna had fallen in love with another man, and was planning to leave her husband. Flying into a jealous rage, her husband knocked Kuchisake-Onna unconscious and tied her up. He berated her, telling her that she had to know what she was doing was wrong. She knew, of course, but told him that he was simply no longer fulfilling her needs. In a fit of rage, he threatened to kill her if she left him. To ensure she wouldn't, he took his sword and with a quick slash carved a permanent smile across her face. He then proceeded to tell her, "Who will find you pretty now?" then continued to finish the job by decapitating her. He was angry, and she deserved it, he told himself, but moments later, he recognized the severity of his action. Regret set in, and he stabbed himself to death. She would later return as a vengeful spirit in Japan, wearing a surgical mask to hide her disfigured face amongst the public. She walks the street of Japan hunting for children, and if she crosses your path, she will proceed to ask you a question. Do you think I'm pretty? If you answer no, then she will proceed to kill you on the spot, either by using her pair of scissors to take your head clean off or simply stabbing you with a pair of scissors. Should you respond with yes, then she will remove her mask, revealing her horribly disfigured face, and continue to ask, "Do you still think I'm pretty?" Answering yes here will result in you getting your face slashed just like hers. Answering no will simply result in your death. So how do you escape the Slit Mouth Woman? You answer with an ambiguous answer. Something like, "You're average," or "You're so-so." You could also flip the question and ask, "Do you think I'm pretty?" As she pauses to consider, you can slip away. The goal is to essentially confuse her by buying you enough time to escape with your life. Other people who say they encountered the Slit Mouth Woman claim they know how to escape her. According to them, another way to survive her encounter is through distraction. By offering Kuchisake-Onna money and candy, you can buy yourself just enough time to run. Though that's a definite might. As with any given legend, it's bound to change with time. Although the core aspect of her asking, "Am I pretty?" remained, her backstory changed. The modern version of Kuchisake-Onna's tale is a bit different. Instead of being a samurai's wife, Kuchisake-Onna was an unstable woman who used to chase and terrify local children, eventually causing parents to complain. When police found her, she fled and tried to escape by running straight into moving traffic, and was killed instantly when a car hit her. Her extensive injuries included severe head trauma and facial lacerations, particularly one that looked like a jagged, bloody smile. Many people claim to have encountered the entity, those of which would be considered the lucky ones as they got to escape and tell the tale. One in particular, as bizarre as it may be, called upon the devil for help. The chance encounter comes from the Graveyard Shift, a channel on the website Ranker.com. According to the story, few people live to tell the tale after seeing Kuchisake-Onna, but there are some stories from survivors. Once a boy named Chance encountered the terrifying spirit as he was taking a shortcut through the woods. His mother had warned him to stay away from the remote area, but he didn't listen. But he did know one thing: evil spirits could be banished by certain words. When Kuchisake-Onna stepped out from behind a tree and confronted him, he fell in terror, landing on his back. She gazed down at him and asked her famous question, "Am I pretty?" and she removed her mask to reveal her horror beneath. Chance grabbed his cross necklace and chanted the devil's curse. "I banish you to shadow of death. I corrupt you to the netherworld, from which no one has came from. Into the dirt no being should ever cross." He had hoped she would just run away, but instead demonic hands rose from the dirt behind Kuchisake-Onna and grabbed her legs, pulling her into the earth. As she sank, she told Chance, "I will be back, and I will tear you to pieces." An interesting legend to be sure, and a pretty popular one as well. So much so it's made its way over to the States. Here in the US, there's a similar legend to Kuchisake-Onna, but instead of a Japanese woman asking if she's pretty or not, it involves a clown. As the rumor goes, there's a demonic clown that hides himself in children's public bathrooms. If alone, he will snatch the child and ask, "Do you want death or a happy smile?" If you ask for death, well, that's relatively self-explanatory. On the other hand, asking for a happy smile will result in him carving a permanent smile on your face with a quick slash. Continuing with her popularity, Kuchisake-Onna made its way into the media. The legend has spawned several movies, most of which were extremely popular in theaters in Japan, although they weren't critically acclaimed by many critics. In fact, the films are regarded as being generally pretty bad, though her popularity didn't stop there. The legend would find itself in many works of literature in Japan and even make it into a manga or two. She also inspired many short films and pranks on YouTube, and one of the more standout appearances of Kuchisake-Onna was in a brief appearance in the show Constantine. The legend of Kuchisake-Onna is one of the more interesting ones out there. Something about the legend, not widely present in other urban legends, is that there are so many claimed encounters with her. So much so, that it seems almost like ridicule to simply dismiss the legend as false. Anyhow, in the event the legend is true, be careful out there. You never know where Kuchisake-Onna could be hiding. So, let me leave you with this small little factoid. Did you know? A coroner in Japan has files that describe a woman who died in 1975 who had a slit mouth going ear to ear.